Cybersecurity is a widely used concept whose definition is highly variable, often subjective, and sometimes uninformative. The challenge of a concise, broadly acceptable definition that captures the multidimensionality of cybersecurity strengthens the predominantly technical aspect of cybersecurity while also hindering technological and scientific advances in this field by separating the disciplines that need to act together to solve technological cybersecurity challenges. Studies on cybersecurity spans a wide range of resources, including a wide variety of academic disciplines, including computer science, engineering, political studies, psychology, security studies, management, education, and sociology. The history of cybersecurity begins with mainframes in the 1960s. The first types of computers suitable enough for businesses appeared during this period. The capacity of these computers is limited to seeing the return on investment from electronic data processing systems. Until this time, the word computer was a concept related to people who did calculations, and the word cyber was a concept belonging to the world of science fiction. During this period, computers were secured with guards and doors. Physical security procedures allowed only authorized persons to have physical access to computers to operate them. The computers were huge and were guarded by private security personnel in hundreds of square meters. Over time, this security function was combined with the role of the computer operator, called the job control technician. People who needed to use the computer delivered their data and programs in punched cards to the operators, and it was ensured that the punched holes in the cards were transmitted to a card reader that would automatically convert them into bits and bytes. The 70s. In the 1970s, punch cards began to be replaced by data NTL technologies from the keyboard and terminal. This situation has brought about a change in the security model based on the security of the data NTL system with a punched card. While physical measures regarding cable and building security continue, customized logical interfaces for users created for electronic data NTL have been added to them. These logical interfaces, which were designed separately according to the authority of each user, were accessed with usernames and passwords, and after logging in, the data were accessed according to the authorizations of the users. With keyboard technology, the use of computers began to become widespread. This situation has brought with it concerns about privacy, and cryptology algorithms have started to be developed, which prevents unauthorized access to data, especially in military circles. The issue of storing and processing personal data on computers without paying attention to confidentiality attracted the attention of the U.S. justice circles, and the 1974 Privacy Act was adopted to ensure the privacy of the data stored in information technologies. This law includes data privacy sanctions for government agencies that process and store data from U.S. citizens. The hub technology, which emerged in the late 1970s, enabled the creation of a local area network for computers. Anyone who owns a computer on the network could access the data in the local area network created in this new technology. MAC and DAC protocols have been developed to overcome this emerging trust gap. The MAC protocol provided mandatory access control, while the DAC provided the separation of publicly accessible data. However, these protocols determined who could gain access at the hardware level. With the first LAN technologies, it has become more difficult to follow the actions of computer users. The 80s. To prevent possible security breaches in computer technologies, reliable computer system evaluation criteria, which would later be called the Orange Book due to the color of its cover, was published by the U.S. Department of Defense in 1983. In this publication, it is still valid today, such as the necessity of determining mandatory corporate policies for information system security, how the content of the relevant policy should be, classifying user privileges by acting according to the access list logic, determining which data can be accessed, processing sensitive data in an encrypted manner with cryptographic encryption methods. This publication was later replaced by the Common Criteria for Information Technology Security Assessment document, which has now become the INDIS-TL standard considered in the purchase of a cybersecurity device or the security requirements of IT projects. The main service of this period was the email service, where users sent emails to each other. In 1988, Robert Morris, whose father was a researcher at VET Bell Laboratories, was introduced to computer technologies at a young age and questioned their security vulnerabilities, developed the first worm-type malware of the Internet, and started spreading it over ARPANET. This software took advantage of the vulnerability of the email service and copied itself to computers using this service, preventing the computer's basic services from running. Only at VET Bell Labs were not affected by this attack. This was not because they had taken security measures to make the email service more secure. It was because they were testing a firewall system, a new technology that analyzes inbound Internet traffic. This attack resulted in the creation of new policies on ARPANET security. Firewall technology was expanded and access policies began to be implemented through the firewall. This practice, similarly, continues today. Computer Incidents Response Team was first established within ARPANET and specialized teams were established to respond to such situations. An understanding of detection and recovery as a basic cybersecurity function has been developed. The 90s. Since the early 1990s, the spread and effects of malicious software have started to increase with the spread of the Internet and disks, which are the pioneers of today's portable memory. Another factor in this situation is that the software for the needs of the users has started to increase and these softwares have vulnerabilities because they are not developed according to the necessary security principles. Patch updates started in this period to close the vulnerabilities of the software against malware. In addition, based on the fact that the activity of each malicious software leaves unique trace information on the operating system and the network, this information about the malware has been started to be categorized under the name of the signature. By collecting these signatures in a database, antivirus software has started to be developed that analyzes the subprocesses and processes of the operating system's network traffic, compares them with this signature database, and detects malicious software. Again in this period, the pioneers of online shopping and transactions using credit card information began to be implemented. This situation brought with it the need for encrypted communication between the user computer and the server computer. To achieve this, secure socket layer technology that provides end-to-end encryption has been developed and application layer encryption based on the logic of exchanging SSL keys generated by the user and the server has been provided. Why there is no one clear cybersecurity definition. When we look at the early stage of the development of cybersecurity, we see that the main problem is to prioritize accessibility by keeping security in the background. Due to the rapid development of Internet and computer technologies and the demand for these technologies, many Internet protocols and services have been developed without considering security requirements. This situation created a favorable environment for attackers and attacks on information systems have started from the first days of computers. This is the main problem that continues today, keeping security in the background by putting accessibility first, considering security only in case of an attack, keeping the security policy application that emerged from the first days of computers in the background has brought with it major cybersecurity problems that have survived to the present day. From this perspective, we will give you more than one cybersecurity definition. International Telecommunication Union. Cybersecurity is the collection of tools, policies, security concepts, security safeguards, guidelines, risk management approaches, actions, training, best practices, assurance and technologies that can be used to protect the cyber environment and organization and users' assets. Oxford University Press. The state of being protected against the criminal or unauthorized use of electronic data, or the measures taken to achieve this. U.S. Department of Homeland Security. The activity or process, ability or capability, or state whereby information and communication systems and the information contained therein are protected from and or defended against damage, unauthorized use or modification, or exploitation. U.S. Department of Commerce National Institute of Standards and Technology. Prevention of damage to, protection of, and restoration of computers, electronic communication systems, electronic communication services, wire communication, and electronic communication, including information contained therein, to ensure its availability, integrity, authentication, confidentiality, and non-repudiation.